15 minutes in the making, 15 minutes of the fame, 15 minutes of the fast cars and icy chains. I'm addicted to the fast life, it's so insane. 15 minutes in the making, 15 minutes of the fame. 15 minutes in the making, 15 minutes of the fame, 15 minutes of the fast cars and icy chains. I'm addicted to the fast life, it's so insane. 15 minutes in the making, 15 minutes of the fame.
This is your handsome host, Khalil Murray, a.k.a. Kaiser. Saturday. As I said earlier in a little post that I put up earlier today, I wanted to go in a little bit deeper about something that I was thinking about and it's been on my mind. And like most of y'all know that's been tuning in, been on my page, my Facebook page and seeing some of my recent posts and comments and things like that. Y'all aware that my dad passed away, by the permission of Allah, a few weeks ago. And I've been dealing with that, the best way possible and the best way that I could. And not to become or make this about a spiritual, it's not going to be something where I'm going to be going to spiritual and, going into anything like that. But it's the ayat in the Quran, the Surah Al-Baqarah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, La yukalif Allahu nafsan illa wus'aha. He said, I will not place a burden on a person greater than they can bear. And the other day I was just thinking to myself that I was kind of surprised in that, for it to be a few weeks later that, I've been able to, I ain't been as impulsive and as I thought I was going to be when it came to me reacting and, snapping out on, knocking somebody upside their head and just going off kind of completely and being irrational, like I thought I would be, and thinking that my temper was just going to spill over. And that the surprise came in that alhamdulillah, I've been able to control it. I've been able to manage it and able to, deal with it. And I know that, and it was because I guess I'm, like people notice certain things about you, and, we know ourselves. And the reason why I was thinking in the way that I was thinking and some of the posts that I was putting up is because I was thinking about my old self. And I was thinking about who I used to be and the kind of guy I was, years ago when things went the way that, was contrary to how I wanted them to go. And of course, that, things happen by, Allah's leave and things that you can't have no control over. And I've been dealing with death, man, since I was little, like we all do. But, I've been losing people close to me for years. You know what I'm saying? And I always subjected myself or, dealt with them, in different ways. You know what I'm saying? At times on the streets, I would go, hang out at the bars or go to a club or, smoke weed and, and just zone out like that and be, deal with stuff that way. And, somebody got on my nerves, I dealt with them. But, and having Islam, and not that I didn't have Islam back then, but in having Islam and having an opportunity to focus on that.
From SCI, Phoenix State Correctional Institution.
Y'all hear Becky with the nappy hair.
Subject to recording and monitoring.
And if you don't know who Becky with the nappy hair is, that's her. So it was the thing of like, now being and actually able to practice Islam, to day in, day out, with no interruptions and no distractions and being a little bit more mature and wiser and polished, I've been able to, actually like have a different perspective and outlook on how to deal with certain things. And also was seeing that when you be patient, when you're patient and you deal with the circumstances that we're advised to, that Allah rewards you through the hardships. And so it's through those hardships and then seeing the rewards that come afterwards that's kind of made me confident in knowing, no, you know better. Hold up, you know better. You see what happened the last time you was tested and tried with certain that difficulty or this situation, that situation, and you was patient and you ain't react to it, negatively or in a different manner, but you was this way about it and that way about it, some ease came. So that kind of like has like been like the blueprint for me to say, okay, and feel like, I'm on the right path and I'm dealing with things in the way that it should be dealt with. And alhamdulillah, that's been my thing. So, and also with that, with that all, it's the thing of thinking about my dad and his memory and some of the things I was talking to him about and a lot of our phone calls, and it was about what I'm doing with myself, with writing these books and trying to do what I'm doing with the films and what I'm going to do once I get home, inshallah, and you know what I'm saying, what I'm going to do with our last name, and you know what I'm saying, and things like that. And so I've been throwing myself into my work and grieving that way. You know what I'm saying?
This is a call from SCI, Phoenix State Correctional Institution. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
And I've been putting together some good stuff. You know what I'm saying? I've been putting together some good stuff because it's like, you know, I feel like, man, that's what's going to be the payoff. You know what I mean? In the grieving process for me. But to that, you know, in this type of class that I'm in, we got this book called Just Mercy, and it's a heck of a book. It's a deep book, and it's about this attorney who down in Alabama and down in the southern states, man, he was a pro bono attorney, and he, you know, fighting for the death, you know, fighting to get a lot of these death row inmates off of death row, and you know what I'm saying, trying to get a lot of their execution stayed and a lot of that kind of stuff, man. And you know, this is one of the books from the class that, you know, and it's a heavy book. You know what I'm saying? And it's deep. And so I came across this poem that kind of like messed me up. You know, and it's written by this guy, his name is Ian E. Manuel. Dude, he was on death row. Little kid that they sent to death row. This is the poem. It says, imagine teardrops being left uncried from pain left inside, waiting to escape through the windows of your eyes. Why won't you let us out? The tears question the conscience. Relinquish your fears and doubts and heal yourself in the process. The conscience told the tears, I know you really want me to cry, but I'll release you from bondage and gain the freedom you die. The tears gave it some thought before giving the conscience an answer. If crying brings you to triumph, then dying is not such a disaster. Now, I'm going to say that again. I'm going to read because, you know, it's something you got to read again. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you got to read again, and perhaps it's something you got to hear again for the you know, make some sense. I think it's like, and this is tears talking to the soul. So here go again. Imagine teardrops left uncried from pain left inside, waiting to escape through the windows of your eyes. Why won't you let us out? The tears question the conscience. Relinquish your fears and doubts and heal yourself in the process. The conscience told the tears, I know you really want me to cry, but if I release you from bondage and gain freedom, you die. The tears gave it some thought before giving the conscience an answer. If crying brings you to triumph, then dying is not such a disaster. And I need to correct myself because it's the tears and the conscience. But you see what the tears said at the end? If crying brings you to triumph, then dying is not such a disaster. So the conscience tell the tears, like, no, I can't let y'all go. If I release y'all from this bondage, then y'all gonna die. If I go ahead and cry, if I let y'all go, y'all gonna die. You see the tears' response is, if crying brings you to triumph, then dying is not such a disaster. And reading that joint, it kind of like, you know, made me sit back. I had to close the book for a moment and sit back and think. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it was just something. And, you know, man, I just wanted to get that off my chest. And, you know, get at the yard to anybody that might get something from it, whether you're going through something out there or dealing with certain things, or, you know, this is a part of life. And just think about it. What Allah says in the Quran, and Allah knows us better than we know ourselves. La yukallifu Allahu nafsan illa wus'aha. He will not place a burden on a person greater than they can bear. And sometimes we don't know ourselves the way we think I do. Sometimes we misjudge ourselves, and we lower ourselves on a totem pole, and we have a lower expectation of ourselves, and we think we're not as strong as we actually are. Where Allah knows what we're capable of burdening ourselves with, and what we're able of dealing with and having on our shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Contrary to what we might think that we can't deal with it. And we don't know these things about ourselves until we're actually, you know what I mean, knee deep in those kind of circumstances and situations, and then we find out certain things about ourselves. And going into that, I know that, you know, and listening to a lecture one time where the sheikh was bringing out the point that Allah sometimes put us through circumstances and situations because if He hadn't or don't, then we won't be raised to the certain levels and degrees in the hereafter to be raised to a position where we'll be granted Jannah. I'm saying? So sometimes we got to go through trials and difficulties to become a better person and to become a better individual or a better servant of Allah. I'm saying? Because left alone to our own vices and our own way of living, and I'm saying, and not going through no trials and tests, we'll just be like everybody else and we won't be distinguished. And remember, this life is a test and it's temporary. And the hereafter is forever. But in this temporary life, how Allah distinguishes us is by testing us to confirm who's true and who's hypocrites. Sometimes we lose sight of that because of the distractions in this life. And of course, we see there's a lot of distractions in this life. You know, and that's part of why we be distracted sometimes and we be forgetting the ultimate goal. And we be forgetting about things. And for me, you know what I'm saying, and what I'm going through and being in this joint, you know what I'm saying, is a heck of a situation. But, you know, I'm constantly reminded by people that I'm around, you know, alhamdulillah, I ain't got life. Alhamdulillah, I ain't on death row. Alhamdulillah, I'm closer to my minimum than I am, you know what I'm saying, years ago. Man, I got a lot going on for myself. I'm not going to go home and be, you know, stuck and stagnant and not going to be able to provide for myself and my family and the people that love me and care about me. I'm going to be able to go home because I was in this joint carefully plotting and planning and figuring out ways positive that I can go home to and have there as a cushion for me when I get out. I ain't got to go out and be scrambling and try looking for no 9 to 5. I'm coming home to my own publishing company. I'm about to put out my first independent film next month. You know what I'm saying? I got books out. I got a little clothing line. You know what I'm saying? And there's other things that I'm planning on doing soon as my money get better than what it is. So I'm in this joint preparing and getting myself together for that. But it's the days that be rough and tough too. I ain't acting like, you know what I'm saying, I'm in this joint and it's so easy and I'm this lion and this grizzly bear who ain't dealing with this stuff, you know what I'm saying, like a human. You know what I'm saying? Some nights I'm up and I'm losing sleep and I'm just laying there and I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? In that bed, even though I got a celly, I'm in the bed by myself, laying there. Some days I'm stressed out. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I pray and I cry. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when I'm working out, you know what I mean, I'm mad as ever. But I'm working out and I'm doing certain things to my body to do it just to, you know what I'm saying, burn that mad energy off and the negative energy off. And that's my way of getting it. So for you, you got to find your way of getting it. You got to find your way of continuing to distinguish yourself from the other people, to make yourself favored by Allah, and to make yourself what you're supposed to be for your family. And a lot of times we don't hear that from other people. So I'm hoping that in listening to this podcast today, you're getting it from me. And it's providing some type of nutrients and vitamins for your soul. Inshallah. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have nobody that can talk to me like this. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? The only way I get it is from certain books or Allah instill it in me, you know, when I wake up certain days. But for most people that know me, y'all know I'm a passionate dude and how I feel and how I roll and how I move. You know what I'm saying? So it's always in me. But sometimes, like, I have my moments. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I have my moments. But, you know, it's never to a point where I just lose it all. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm one of them kind of guys, man, I refuse to give up. I can't lose for no reason. Like, I got too many people that I feel like is counting on me. And not everybody that's alive. I be thinking about the people that's dead. I be feeling like they counting on me. You know what I'm saying? That what I'm doing matter to them. So I'm doing it for them.
You have 1 minute left.
And them most of the times. Y'all heard Becky with the nappy hair. She just said my 15 minutes of fame is up. I hope y'all got something from this podcast, man. And it was some benefit for y'all. Keep doing what you're doing out there, man, and do better. You know what I'm saying? Make tomorrow better than the day, and the day not over. Make the night better than this morning. You know what I'm saying? Hope in Allah, trust in Allah. You know what I'm saying? And know that whatever's on your shoulders, you can deal with it. Because Allah wouldn't put it on your shoulders if you couldn't. That's my 15 minutes of fame. For everybody out there